Somewhere right now, a child is crying in their room. Their parents don't know. Their friends don't know. But the dog knows. The dog got up, walked down the hall, pushed open the door, and laid down beside them. No words, no algorithm, no notification, just presence. In 2024, companies spent billions building artificial companions, machines that could simulate empathy, robots designed to look into your eyes and mirror your emotion back at you. They were impressive, they were advanced, and something about them felt completely, profoundly empty. Why? Why can a 60-pound animal with no language, no career, no philosophy degree, reach something inside us that no machine ever has? The answer is not sentimental. It is not a feeling. It is science. Ancient science, written in DNAs. Let's go back. Not 100 years, not 1,000, 30,000 years. Homo sapiens is a young species, fragile and cold, trying to survive a planet that has no interest in keeping us alive. We cannot outrun most predators. We cannot smell what's coming in the dark. We have no fur, no claws, poor night vision. And yet, we survived. We didn't just survive. We dominated. Across multiple sites on 3 continents, from ancient Ukraine to the caves of Belgium to the valleys of East Asia, archaeologists have uncovered the same thing: wolf bones, buried beside human bones. Not as prey, not as trophies, buried as companions. One site in Israel, 12,000 years old, a human skeleton, hand resting on the skeleton of a small canid. The position was intentional. Someone placed it that way. Someone chose to go into the earth beside their dog. That is not utility. That is love, older than civilization. We do not know exactly when domestication began. But we know this: it was not humans who captured wolves and broke them. The leading scientific theory today is far more extraordinary. The wolves chose us. The bolder, more curious wolves, those less afraid of fire and human smell, began following our camps, eating our scraps, watching our movements. And over thousands of years, something began to shift, in them and in us. Here is where the science becomes almost unbelievable. Co-evolution, the process by which 2 species shape each other's biology over time. We know it happened with flowers and bees. We know it happened with certain plants and their pollinators. But the co-evolution between humans and dogs may be the most intimate interspecies biological relationship ever documented on Earth. Let's start with oxytocin, the bonding hormone. The same chemical released between a mother and her newborn child. The same chemical that fires when lovers embrace. When a dog looks into the eyes of its human, both the dog's oxytocin and the human's oxytocin spike simultaneously. This is the only known cross-species gaze bond that triggers a shared hormonal response. It doesn't happen with wolves. It doesn't happen with any other domesticated animal. Only dogs, only with us. We didn't train this into them. Evolution built this into them, for us. But the transformation went both ways. Research from Duke University's Canine Cognition Center showed that dogs have developed a unique sensitivity to human social cues that even our closest genetic relatives, chimpanzees, do not possess. Show a dog a human pointing at something, and the dog follows the point. A wolf raised by humans since birth does not. This ability, reading human gesture, human gaze, human intention, is not learned. It is genetic. Dogs are born wired to understand us. And here is what we rarely talk about. Humans changed too. Our capacity for non-verbal emotional reading, our instinct to nurture outside our own species, Our ability to project consciousness and feeling onto beings who cannot speak our language, these traits were not just moral choices. Neuroscientists now believe they were reinforced over millennia by living alongside dogs. We taught dogs to read us, and in doing so, they taught us to feel more. The data that followed from this bond is extraordinary. Dog owners show measurably lower cortisol levels, lower blood pressure, faster cardiac recovery after stress events. Children raised with dogs show higher levels of empathy development. Veterans with PTSD show statistically significant symptom reduction. After just weeks with a trained dog, outcomes no pharmaceutical trial has consistently replicated. This is not coincidence. This is not placebo. This is 30,000 years of biological design. Now, back to the machine. AI companions are not inherently wrong. For the lonely, for the elderly, for those with severe allergies, they offer something real. But let us be scientifically precise about what they cannot offer. A robotic dog does not produce oxytocin in you, because oxytocin is a response to authentic biological presence. Your nervous system knows the difference between something alive and something simulated. It has known the difference for 30,000 years. An AI companion can recognize when you're sad. A dog feels it through changes in your cortisol scent, your breathing rhythm, your posture. The dog doesn't compute your emotion. The dog receives it. This is why your dog comes to you before you cry. Not after, before, when you haven't said a word, when your face is still composed. They sense the shift in your chemistry. No algorithm built in a lab, no matter how advanced, can access you at that level. Because that level is biological. It is animal. It is ancient. This is why your dog waits at the door. This is why they rest their head on your knee at exactly the moment you need it. This is why, when everything in your life feels abstract and overwhelming, 5 minutes with a dog brings you back to your body. That is not a feature. That is 10,000 years of evolution, remembering that you were never meant to be alone. We build, we migrate, we invent, we wage war, we make art. Empires rise and collapse. Languages form and go silent. Gods are created, worshipped, and forgotten. And through every single chapter, there they are. In the Egyptian tombs, in the Roman mosaics, in the trenches of the First World War, in the photographs taken at Apollo mission launch sites, in the refugee camps, in the hospitals, in the children's beds, dogs, not as tools, not as property, as witnesses, as companions, as constants. If you want to understand what human beings truly value, cross-culturally, across every era, you do not look at what we build. You look at what we refuse to leave behind. Across 30,000 years and every civilization on Earth, we refused to leave the dog behind. Carl Sagan once said that we are made of star stuff, that the atoms in our bodies were forged in the hearts of ancient suns. I would add this: the love between a human and their dog is made of time stuff. It is forged in the quiet, accumulated weight of 30,000 years of mutual trust. You cannot manufacture that. You cannot download it. You cannot simulate it. You can only receive it from a living animal who chose, somewhere in the deep biological past, to walk beside us. We live in an age that is accelerating faster than our nervous systems were designed to handle. More information, more distance, more simulation, more of everything except presence. And in the middle of all that speed and noise and digital abstraction, there is a dog, looking at you. Actually looking at you, not at your follower count, not at your productivity, not at what you did wrong, or what you haven't finished, or who you used to be. just at you, right now, in this moment, with a gaze that evolution specifically shaped to connect with yours. The greatest paradox of the modern world is that in our search for more sophisticated connection, the most profound connection available to us has been sleeping at the foot of our beds for 30,000 years. Dogs are not a substitute for human connection. They are not a product, not a tool, not a therapy device. They are our oldest relationship, the bond that helped make us human in the first place. And in a world that keeps asking what comes next, they are the reminder that some things were already, perfectly, irreplaceably right. They did not domesticate themselves for our convenience. They became something new, for us. The least we can do is understand them.